Okay, so here we are at Restaurant Depot. Come on. Shop with me, y'all. Shop with me. At Restaurant Depot, they let the customers get little freezer jackets. You know what I mean? I look spiffy right now, don't I? Y'all come on with me. Shop with me. Oh, it's cold here. This is where I pick up my meat, brisket, ribs, pulled pork, chicken. Me, I'm a person, I like to come here and I like to put my hand on my meat. I like to put my hands on it. Well, that wraps up our shopping day. Headed home. Home sweet home. Long road. Might as well give y'all a little story. Background of how I started out doing this right here. So, man, I used to cook for myself all the time. Family members, they would always say, man, Kenny, man, why you gonna get out there and start cooking, man? Let people taste your food. I never had the confidence at all to do what I'm doing today. One of my best friends, he hit me up. He was working over there at the mill. He said, hey, man, I'm planning on wanting to do something for the guys. I want you to do a cook for me, Kenny. I want you to bring it over here for me. I said, man, hey, I can handle it. So I did my thing on the grill, whipped them beans up in the stove, and got on the road and took the food over there to him. And about 3 or 4 hours later, I heard from him. He was like, man, everybody loved the food, man. I'm like, man, I think I want to do this all the time. Like, I like the reaction that people get from eating my food. Hey, I was always told that if you're sitting around the table and people started talking about eating, that food ain't good at all. They just running their mouth. I tell you what, if you ever get a chance to stop by Godson's Barbecue and taste the food, you understand how much love we put inside the food for the customers. We make sure that the customer appreciates every bite that they take. Like I say, we make sure the customer's going to enjoy every bite. Like I say, when I first started out, I was only cooking ribs, chicken, and pulled pork. And I had a lot of people coming up, and they were curious about what we were out there doing on the side of the road. I'm like, hey man, what y'all got over here? Because when we first started out, we started out in a tent with 2 tables, a couple what are those like what is food bags. We had the food set up in the bags, and then we had some coolers out there to keep the cold sides cold in the cooler. And we just kept grinding, man. Just kept to it. Shortly after that, I'm like, man, I need to add something else to the menu, because we got too many people that come to the truck and say, hey man, I love poultry, but pork is just not something that I like to eat. I gave it up a long time ago. So me and my wife sat down and we did some brainstorming, and I'm like, man, I want to put brisket on the menu. I can cook brisket real good, man. I've been looking at tons of videos over the years. I know I can cook brisket. Let me put it out there and let everybody try it. So yeah, we started doing brisket. At the time, I was cooking like 9 to 10 slabs of ribs. Boy, when I put that brisket on the menu, man, I went from selling 10 slabs of ribs to selling only 4. That brisket put the brakes on everything around. I've had people come from all over visiting us. Had a couple guys come from Texas. Had a lady that she's a general manager at a hotel. She goes out to Texas all the time, and while she's out there, she's always enjoying the little different cuisines that Texas has to offer. She stopped by the food truck a couple times and she told me, she's like, baby, that brisket that you got, I swear, you hang with the big dogs that's out there in Texas. And I just smiled, you know what I mean? I took it as a compliment. But I had a guy that moved out from Texas and said that, hey, man, I lived out in Texas for years. And I've eaten barbecue all over North Florida because he lived out in Texas for years. And he moved up to Florida and bought some cows out here in this area and started doing a little ranching. So every weekend he'll come by the food truck and buy food from time to time. And he would always order a brisket sandwich and coleslaw. And he'll sit on the back of his tailgate and pop it up and just enjoy it. And he'll come back and tell me, he's like, hey man, that's some of the best brisket I've eaten. I'm a Texas man and hey, I know good brisket. And you got yourself some good product. So this is for all the people that feel like you need to go to Texas to eat good brisket. No, you don't. Next time you're traveling on that interstate, and you come on through I-10 or I-75, why don't you jump off and travel down 90 and look up God's Son's Barbecue. I promise you, we have some of the best brisket, some of the best ribs. Hell, we got some of the best barbecue you ever want to eat right here in this little town. I can hang with the Terry Blacks. I can hang with the Goldies. I can hang with the Meat Church.